still know that He is God. Be still know He's all you got. Be still trust in His holy word.
Yes, indeed, it's Jamaican Explosion on a Tuesday evening, Monday evening here. Pastor Rob with you. How you feeling this evening? It's good to be here again with you. And as we get started this evening, we just want to welcome each and every one this evening to Jamaican Explosion with yours truly, Pastor Rob. How you doing today, everyone? Today we got a very interesting show planned for you, and we are hoping that everyone will text a friend, let somebody know that we are on this evening, and we've got some very important subjects to discuss this evening. But before we go into our guest this evening, I want to just welcome each and every one into the studios that are here waiting online with me, and I will get to you shortly. But I just want to remind everybody, in the background sounds of none other than Miss Universe, and she's does that one, she calls it Be Still. And if you want to see Miss Universe, you want to come down to Caribbean Life Studios on this Sunday evening, where we have the International Evening of Praise, and you could hear the sounds of Miss Universe, and she calls this one Be Still. Every now and then we just got to be still and know that He is God. On a Monday evening, this is Jamaican Explosion. Pastor Rob with you.
Be still and know who can number the days of eternity. Who can understand the depths of the deep blue sea? Who knows which way the wind comes and goes? Who knows why on a cloudy day the sunlight shows? The world's trust in what created them. Even when it seemed like a far-fetched dream. Though the elements may be boisterous, it still takes wisdom to obey the command to be still. And know that He is God. Be still, know that He is God. Be still, know He's all you got. Be still, trust in His holy word.
Yes, in the background sounds of none other than Miss Universe, and she'll be with us this coming Sunday evening, International Evening of Praise, Gwinnett International Church, along with Pat Hamar Music. We present an evening of praise and worship. Caribbean Life's TV studio, 6254 Memorial Drive, Suite C, Stone Mountain, Georgia. You want to be in the place to be, okay? Very good, very good. Okay, we are getting ready now to come on, and I want to introduce to you my co-host here, and he's up on the front end of things today, none other than Mr. KBN. And we're going to introduce him and bring him on screens to you right now. This is the man himself, KBN, and he's here with his wife, Rebecca, today. So it's KBN. How are you doing, sir? Welcome to Jamaican Explosion on this Monday evening.
I'm doing fine. I'm alive and well, sir. So she's going to join in on her own thing, even though it says me. Well, I am alive. I'm alive and well, especially if we're talking about Suicide Prevention Month. It's a good month to be alive.
Okay, very, very good. So as you heard, this evening we will be discussing for the first 45 minutes or so Suicide Prevention Month, which happens to be September, and we are in September. So I'm just looking forward to learning about this. Kabian will be the host. So Kabian, if you see me go off screen, I'm not off screen. I'm back screen listening and running the boards. Okay,
yes, sir.
a lot of times when I'm doing this and somebody else is running the show, they don't see me on screen, but they don't realize that I'm backstage doing everything. Okay,
yes,
all
sir.
right. Okay, so as we get started this evening, we're going to introduce the panel that we have here this evening. And welcome to Jamaican Explosion. If you're just tuning in, go tell a friend. The chat lines are already open, and I think I see some chats coming in already. So let's go ahead and start seeing some chats that are here already. Somebody said, Natalia Alexander says, good evening already. So she's already joined the chat. We have 5 people online so far. They're growing. Okay, so stick and stay as we get everybody started right here. So, Mr. KBN, if you will do us the honors and introduce folks as we get started today.
Yes, sir.
You want to?
So I don't know who you're popping in first. So
let me pop him in. So
okay. So up first we have Mrs. Rebecca Brown, and Mrs. Brown is an LPC, which is a licensed professional counselor, and also the owner of AOS Healing and Wellness Center. And I'll let her go ahead and tell you about what she does and who she is.
Okay.
Yes, hello, greetings to everyone. Greetings, Brother Rob. Greetings, KBN. And as KBN indicated, I am an LPC in the state of Georgia and Connecticut at this time. And the owner of an agency called AOS Healing Center, where we offer mental health services utilizing an integrative medicinal approach to treating mental health issues. So I'm definitely grateful for being here this evening and look forward to the conversation.
Very good, very good. And I'm going to pop somebody else on here in KBN. Here you go.
And our next up, we have Miss Marionette Hume. She's a licensed master social worker at LMSW, and she is also the author of a journal and a couple of journals, actually. And I'll let her talk about that also. Marionette?
Thank you for having me here, Brother Rob. Hey, Rebecca, I appreciate this opportunity to get out there and possibly drop some nuggets on to somebody who may be seeking it and not yet taking that step to seek mental health services. So I'm definitely happy to be here and be a part of the process.
Okay, all right. And then we're going to bring on to her. There she is, just in time. How are you today?
So we can't hear you. You might be muted. Unmute, Christy.
Just unmute your mic. We're going to work on her mic. Well, she's here with us, and we're going to work on getting her mic going. And that's, go ahead and introduce her, KBN.
And that is Miss Christy Holmes. She's a licensed master social worker. She is also the owner of her own organization called Trill Therapy Atlanta, where she does a lot of CBD products, medical marijuana assessments, and tinctures. She's also a licensed master social worker, also a yoga instructor. I know she does sound baths and sound healing. She has a lot of things under her belt. Miss Holmes is she's a force to be reckoned with.
So we're going to ask. We're going to ask you to. You have 2 devices on, because it seems like how we're getting the feedback from you. You might need to turn something down if you have 2 mics on.
He's talking to you, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're using your cell phone, you just want your cell phone mic on, but you want it down very, very, very low, and make sure there's nothing that's giving you a feedback. Okay. If that doesn't work, then I'm gonna have you call me on my cell phone, and then you talk through my cell phone, and I'm gonna have her stay on screen, but then she's on a cell phone. If she could, okay. So we're gonna work it out so we hear her sound today. Okay. Any which ways, so that's the panel this evening, and we're gonna get started here in a second. Okay. And okay. Is that Miss Holmes there? Is that you? We hearing?
That sounds like a baby. So no, we can't hear Christy. So it is just no. We're probably just mute. Thank God, boy.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll continue here. Suicide Prevention Month. This is the panelists that we have here today. And of course, KBN went ahead and he introduced everyone. And now let me just put on some accolades up here. We have Morgan, professional counselor, We we have also with us this evening Miss Marilyn you, and I hope I'm saying it correctly. And she has 20 years of experience, a licensed and master social worker. Okay, and we have Miss Holmes, who we're working on our audio right now. But it's good to be here with you, everyone, this evening, and we're looking forward to a lively chat this evening as Kabian makes his way back in here. And okay, so Mr. Kabian, you could go ahead and you could take it away, and while you're doing that, I will go. Okay,
And work with Kristen.
take it away, Kabian. While you do that, I'll go work with Christy backstage. Okay.
Yes, sir. And I just sent her your number, so no problem. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being part of the panel. And I'm going to just ask you guys a couple of questions in no particular order. So, as we know that this is Suicide Prevention Month, and okay, so that's a baby wants to talk too. Hello, hello, baby. Suicide Prevention Month, and we know that we're in Georgia, and we've had the high school shootings and things of that nature. So for September, the first question I wanted to start off with, and whoever wants to take it can. Can you talk about the impact of untreated mental health conditions like depression or anxiety, and how does that impact suicide or the potential, the risk of suicide?
Um, well, I think I think it impacts the potential risk of suicide because there's a sense of hopelessness and there's no that individual doesn't have an outlet, um, and not seeking mental health services sometimes because it's a stigma, or um, people don't really understand the depths of it, because some people could be depressed, um, have those thoughts, but still get up and go to work every day, interact with individuals. And from your standpoint, you wouldn't even think that there's anything wrong until either attempt is made, or an actual suicide has taken place. So I do think mental health services is definitely needs to get out in front. And we need to it needs to be, it needs to be up front and center, especially after what happened here in Georgia, where there we clearly see services were needed,
Hmm.
and there were signs long before it got to this point. And for the children, the parents didn't take it serious enough. And or we can even flip it, say the medical insurance providers didn't take it, serious enough, and didn't provide enough, possibly enough sessions or maybe coverage. So I think there's a lot of things that we need to work on and address as far as mental health services, and get it out there in front of people, young and old.
I agree, and I don't think I could agree. Well said. To that end, when you're saying that there's signs, like especially with the recent thing that happened, Mrs. Brown, what would you say that the signs would be for identifying suicide? Like knowing if somebody's suicidal or not. How would you identify a suicidal person?
There isn't just one thing, but definitely simple. And like Marinette said, right, a person can be going to work and definitely be functioning very well, and you just hear that it happens, right? But sometimes, in terms of some obvious things, a lot of sadness, being down, a lot of negative communication, negative expressions about self, the world, um, maybe even some self-harming behaviors. Not always will self-harming behaviors mean that a person actually wants to end their life, but it definitely can show that there may be um, a negative relationship with self, and
Hmm.
or a lot of pain that this person is experiencing, to the point where emotional pain, to the point where their preference is to experience physical pain to help them tolerate that emotional pain. So family members, friends, it's very important to just be able to just tune in and just check in with your people, periodically, especially, if a person is dealing with a lot of stress in their life, they may not be the ones to go out and ask for a lot of help or even communicate a lot about what they're dealing with, but the fact that they are very overwhelmed,
Mm.
right? When you talk about people that die by suicide, it's usually because they're so overwhelmed with life, and all of the things that are happening to them, the things that are happening in the world that they feel like they can't contribute to making any change to. Most times when I'm working with individuals and they have these thoughts, it's like I'm just dealing with a whole lot. I'm so stressed out. I'm dealing with a lot of emotional pain from whatever situations. So if you know someone, or if a person, or even yourself, you're complaining a lot about just being really overwhelmed, those thoughts can start creeping up, because at the end of the day, it's a solution. The person who
Mhm.
usually dies by suicide, it's the best option for them. So many a times it can be seen as a solution to a lot of these problems and emotional pain that people may experience.
Okay, and I definitely would agree with that or support that. There's like theories, IFS, internal family systems, that goes ahead and says that suicide is the person's way out. It's when they are dealing with stress and dealing with so overwhelmed that that is the best way to say, okay, I don't have to deal with it anymore. So to that end, do you, either of you, do you guys believe, or what population do you feel like is most affected by suicide? And when I say population, I mean demographic: men, women, children, any race that you guys would say, if we were to pinpoint. What would your answers be?
Um,
Well,
I'm thinking it's I think we see a higher rate of males. Um and also it looks like there's a higher rate of the young the young population, where this is definitely increasing because they're having access to all kind of pills, weapons, um and through that social media, that seems to be a key component with our youth, and having a sense of hopelessness and hopelessness.
and so I'm glad you asked that question. I was actually looking at the CDC website, and it's very interesting, the statistics. When it comes down to race, the leading race are American Indians, right? Followed by Caucasians, followed by Hawaiian, followed by multicultural, African American, Hispanic, and then Asians. And males definitely are outnumbering females when it comes down to who, in terms of gender. And lo and behold, when it comes down to age, it's actually our seniors,
Seniors.
85 and up, are leading the charge. So
Oh
our
wow.
seniors are, as we have, the seniors is the fastest growing population in the US right now.
Mm.
And if we're not awakened to this reality and allowing ourselves to get trained and knowing how to connect and support this population, um, yeah, they are in danger, right? Because life, and life is just what it is, and the means that's leading, of course, is firearms, right? It's fast. It gets the job done, right? Unlike certain other means where you try to overdose and doesn't work, and you just go to the hospital, they pump you, and you're still here. So just keep it. And these are just some really brief statistics. Suffocation comes next, and poisoning after. So these are
Rebecca,
just. Mhm.
do they say what is the cause why the seniors, does it have anything to do with them living longer possibly, or um like what is the drivers to the senior population being the highest?
So it's literally just statistics that this article that I'm looking at is showing. it's not really going into the whys, but I think just, and I don't want to speculate or anything like that, it's just from my experience with this particular population, they are extremely vulnerable, right? I don't know if you've worked with a senior who is possibly being mistreated by their family,
Abuse.
by their child. And it's like, holy moly, like when you think about it, I'm at this stage in my life and I have no one. A lot of times they may have lost their partner, their lifelong partner, and life is just hard. And they could live a few more lives, a few more years, but because of the fact that they don't have their person anymore, or just the struggles of life in terms of, having not having the finances to be in an assisted living facility, or not being able to work and not having the finances to even take care of themselves, being a senior, it's pretty intense, so like we said earlier, it's a solution, right? I'm not unhealthy enough to the point where I'm going to die because of health or old age. I'm still trucking along, right? But I don't really want to be here anymore. So those are just some of my thoughts, and some of the experiences that I've had with seniors so far. I would love to hear what everyone else's thoughts are.
Well, good pivot. Christy, are you able to hear us or speak?
I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, well, welcome to the show. Welcome to Jamaican Explosion. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Christy Holmes is present, and we were just talking about the leading race or demographics that are reported to be suicidal. So Mrs. Brown was able to let us know that it is not African Americans, but the leaders race that is suicidal are actually Indians. And then after that, I believe was I don't remember
Whites.
Caucasians,
Hmm.
and
And
then
then
after
after
that,
them, Hawaiians.
and African Americans were number five, with Hispanics and other races. So therefore, it really depends on the demographic in the areas you are. And if you don't have a lot of that population, you probably wouldn't know or be exposed to them. But this also lets us know that there's a lot of people of Indian descent that are suicidal. And then when it comes to the age, Ms. Brown was letting us know that our seniors are the most at risk for suicide due to just the things that they might go through or the lack of support that they might have, or just the abuse that they go through without anyone to necessarily be there. And also remember that with this population, they've lived a full life, and some points their independence is a lot, and then to be kind of revert back to childhood takes a lot from them too, in terms of feeling like they still are who they were. So that was just a catch up, but awesome. So then we also talked about like social media and how social media influences. So Christy, how does social media and digital platforms, what role do social media and the digital platforms play in either exacerbating suicide or preventing it?
I think generally a lot of times people think that people get into comparison mode when they're on social media. Oh, my life should look like this, or I'm comparing myself to the next person's experience or where they are in life. And I think that's the pretty popular, I would say, theme across social media. But I also want to add that social media, to me, also has facilitated this environment or this space where we aren't building genuine connections with people. So I think when people are dealing with suicide or dealing with depressive thoughts, they don't necessarily have the network, or they haven't created the network outside of social media that they need to provide them with the support. So I think a lot of times social media definitely can influence in that way, as well as also along with highlighting, you know what I mean, some of the things that we do to compare ourselves to other people. As far as prevention, like I said, building up your network outside of social media. You don't have to only exist online. Getting outside, touching some grass, as a lot of people would say, is very important.
Awesome, definitely. So then the social media can impact in the positive and the negative, because as you know, sometimes there can be a lot of things that get kids or adults, can't just say kids, that gets people to say, okay, I have a problem, let me go ahead and reach out since there's a lot of people talking about it. Or it can sometimes like you said, the compare and contrast. They're doing this, I'm not doing this, I'm not there. Look at me, woe is me, and here I am. For those who have, I think all the panelists on here have are parents. How can parents talk to their children about mental health and suicide in a way that is open and supportive? I shouldn't have put your business out there. I think you're all parents.
Well, I
Give them.
think. Oh, I'm
Go
sorry. I
ahead.
think having that. I think communication is key. Um, as parents, sometimes we don't always allow our child to have a voice, or we are just so busy lifing that we don't see signs because we have a certain expectation of our child, and we don't think our child may be effective because we are doing, we're home, we're eating, we're communing together, but not really being in tune with our children. So as parents, I think we definitely need to pay attention to the verbal as well as the nonverbal cues. um and I'm doing something on empathetic communication, where when they're talking to us sometime, talk listen, having an active listen, reframing what they're saying sometime to get a clear understanding. Pay attention to the verbiage that they use, the company that they keep, if it changes, when it changes, what's going on, who have they connected with. So those are a lot of things I think will start the ball rolling. Not necessarily to say it'll stop it, but as parents, more aware, because the main thing is being aware. And a lot of times signs are nonverbal. So, paying attention with our eyes, and our ears.
Definitely. Rebecca, Christy, brother,
Yeah,
Prosper.
I think also facilitating a space of confidence within your child. I think that if the child has confidence first at home, within themselves, knowing their importance, knowing their worth, not being easily influenced by outside influence, I think it is the main thing for me in my household. Making sure my child knows I am important, my opinion is important. Piggybacking off Marionette a little bit, as far as them just having a certain type of foundation first before they're even allowed on that social media platform is very, very important, so that they aren't influenced in the incorrect way, for sure. Yeah, so that's my tidbit on that.
That's important. Rebecca?
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that you guys are saying. I would just add, when I think about what a person is dealing with, or what they may be lacking, if they are even considering suicide, is an inability to regulate and tolerate distress. So I would like to make sure that my children, and I encourage other parents to make sure that we teach our children how to effectively regulate their emotions, and how we model how we regulate our emotions. We normalize difficulties in life, and understand that we have the capacity to figure things out. Help them to understand the importance of community, and reaching out to supports, and never feeling as though they don't have a voice or they're not important, like Christy said. Being able to understand how to problem solve situations, right? Developing those skill sets, right? So what I'm saying is, it's not like a direct, oh, let's sit down and talk about suicide, is easy, but the things that could contribute to her possibly having those thoughts, let's sit down and have a conversation about how you're feeling today, right? You had an issue in school. Let's talk about how you could deal with that problem. You're being bullied. Okay, let's talk about that particular person, and let's talk about who you really are, so that you're not impacted by that. So pretty much having conversations that are going to give them the armor to resists having those type of thoughts and feelings would be something that I would like to add to that.
I like that, being fit for battle, being fit for just being protected and armored. And I think to piggyback on something that all three of you said, just making sure that support, right? I think as a parent, you have to also know that sometimes you don't have to be the person that your child talks to, but even if you can have that conversation, say, do you have a support? It can be grandma, it can be auntie, uncle, or somebody, even the teacher. If you feel comfortable or feel like you are able to talk to somebody, and in the end, that's all that matters. Because I'd rather you speak to somebody than hold all your feelings together and speak to no one and then take that with you.
Exactly.
So,
Fabian,
yes.
I like what Rebecca said about the emotional regulation because I find that a lot of our youth that we work with, that's lacking. They have poor emotional regulation skills. So when they don't know how to um, deal with adversity or negative situations, it's like they go. It just takes them to a different place. And so
Right.
Hmm.
from early deal with, okay, you're not going to win every race. You're not going to always get 100. You're not going to always be
Mm-hmm.
in front of the class. It's okay. And it's okay if you feel a little disappointed, but what you do is now we work a little harder. What can we
Hmm.
do differently for the next time? And then okay, take your time, take a deep breath. I work with my grandson sometimes when he gets upset. I'm like, okay, I'll give you a minute. All right, now we got to take deep breaths and we got to calm down. We got to
Hmm.
calm down. And so, as parents, helping them from a young age, start to be able to utilize some of those skills. So as when adversity hits, they already have those skills that can kick in and help them regulate. So I definitely agree with Rebecca with that emotional regulation.
And
Mm-hmm.
finding ways to do so, because a lot of times your kids won't talk to you, they'll talk to other people. I would say, if for those who are listening, movies, plays, stuff, Inside Out is a great movie. One and two are great movies to just sit there and watch with your kids. And even if you're just like, so what did you think about that movie? Definitely opens up conversation and ability to talk. So a lot of times you might have kids who don't want to talk. You gotta kind of know your children, know what they like, and know what to feed into or what to pull to get conversations. Because a lot of the times the signs are there. It's a lot of times, what are we looking for in order to get things? Make sure that we ask questions. How are you doing today? Good. Don't just settle with good. What does good look like? What does good mean? Because good can mean have had the worst day ever. We just never took that time to ask the other question, what does that look like? So, question: how can parents find a safe place to talk when they're dealing with stress, depression, and all that life comes with, without being at risk of the kids? Oh, that's a great question. So, for the panel, Brother Robert, if you don't mind, here's a question that we have from our yes. Go ahead. How can parents find a safe place to talk when they're dealing with stress, depression, and all that life comes with, without being at risk of the kids being taken away? So more or less, when the parent is stressed, and the kids could be a part of the stress, how are they able to go ahead and talk, even if they might be feeling suicidal or not? How can they go ahead and do so without their children being at risk from being taken based off of how they feel?
Man, that's a really good question. I feel as though the therapist room is a safe place, especially when you can, as a person in the community, right, or just a non-therapist, um, making sure that you build that rapport with your clinician, right, with your provider, so that when you communicate certain things, they know not to think that they need to go ahead and pick up the phone. So that's from your perspective. I want you to consider that. Now, I think it's important to understand from our perspective as providers, we don't always go to, oh my God, this is an unfit parent because you're dealing with these
Hmm.
stressors. And I
Hmm.
need to go ahead and get defects in place so that your child can be taken away, right? We don't go that far so quickly, right? If there isn't evidence of actual abuse where this child is unsafe or being neglected, right? We understand why you're coming to therapy, right? Your kids are probably running you ragged, you know. So we are definitely that safe place for individuals to come and talk to, especially if they don't want to burden their friends, their family members, or things like that. I see your second follow up to that, Gracie, in terms of knowing that people don't want to ask for help because they're scared. I get that, right? But I think that's where not really understanding the therapeutic space and what that all entails. Like, it is our responsibility to make sure that we maintain that safe space for you to be able to communicate about your most intimate horrors in life, right? And even if we do get defects involved, it is not like I've had to call defects on people, right? But I always let my families know. And I also help my families know how they can use this report that I'm going to make to supplement the treatment that they're getting from me, right? So my families never feel as though I've violated their trust or anything like that, because sometimes we need more supports in the process, right? So understand that we're trained to know how to navigate that process and how to navigate that system, because many a times, you know, defects will get called and then they go in and they don't do anything because it's not a situation that requires their support. So we have to learn how to know what type of situations to even put on their table, because they don't have all the resources. So I
And
think, go ahead.
And I want to go on to add, and just like when we say defects being in Georgia, that's the Department of Children's Services. But if you're in another state, sometimes they have CPS or ACS and things of that nature. But in terms of, I think what Ms. Brown is going ahead and saying is that, and I think the other panelists will say too, is that the question, how can parents find a safe place to talk when dealing with stress? Therapy should be that safe place to talk, because just because you're dealing with stress doesn't mean that your children are going to be taken away. A lot of people deal with the relationship stress, deal with life stress, and it doesn't mean that the kids are going to be taken away. In answer to a follow up to what Ms. Brown was saying, kids are usually taken away when the kids are at imminent harm or danger, being abused or something like that. They do have a lot of programs where they offer restitution, or they offer like safe haven, where they sometimes you can put your children in preventative care, so that way you can do the things that you need to do and then come back for them. So it's not necessarily taking, but mama or daddy needs a break and we're doing things. Yes, I'm going to get to Marinette and Christy. Go ahead, Marinette. I see.
Um, um, as
Also
a
answer
as a previous supervisor with the Department of Family and Children's Services in Georgia, typically we know that the stigma on defects is we're coming to take your children. But I covered a unit in Fulton County where we did family support services. So oftentimes, if defects have to go in, you know, you will have somebody like myself or another clinician who will go in. We will assess it and then identify, okay, the family just need basic needs met, or the family needs certain kind of services. So then we would then go in and connect you to those resources
Mm-hmm.
without you even having to worry about medical insurance,
right.
financial. We, you know, it's a resource. And I think a lot of people forget that or are not aware of it and only look at the stigma of taking my children as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to getting services for my family and children.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that, and that's so true. Do you know how many times I tried to let people know, call defects. They they have supports. That's what they're there for. They have so many resources, you
absolutely.
know, so they can definitely help to reduce some of the stress that
Yes.
the person is dealing with.
Hmm.
100% they do. And I was going to see if Christy was coming back to be able to answer. And for defects is the Department of Children and Family Services, not just them you come take your kids. Somebody and then Christy, you're up if you're able to hear. Can parents find a safe place to talk when they're dealing with stress, depression, and all that comes with life?
Christy, you got to turn your camera
Can you guys hear
around.
me?
Oh,
We can hear you,
turn your
but you're
camera.
closing. But she can still answer, but I think that might be stuck. But how can parents find a safe place to talk when they're dealing with a lot and kind of worrying about their kids being taken away? Can you hear us?
I definitely was wondering where she or he was going with the question. So I'm glad the defects and things like that. But there is never in my experience, not to say that it does not happen, but never in my because the parent is stressed or because the parent has suicidal thoughts. So I never anybody on here that's listening ever think that because you're going through life's struggles, because life be life and that defects is gonna come defects. And there are several resources that they will be able to provide. And in my experience, promote reunification. They want your children to be with the biological parents unless there's some type of safety or
Okay, I think she's having a little
to
bit of
talk to. And I think
connection
someone already
problems.
reiterated that therapy would be the first place to do that. I would say another option, media person. There's a lot of support groups online. I know Facebook has a lot of them as far as parenting. Get resources and things like that. So never be scared to look for the help for risk of losing your children. Not being able to process or not being able to emotionally regulate, and then you have a reaction, and then your children thinking that because you're wanting to get help that they'll be taken away.
Okay, and I think Krista, we heard like a three-fourths of everything and cut out like every one-fourth, but a
Answer the
more or
question because I
less.
can barely hear you guys. I'm so sorry.
No worry, but more or less, Christy was saying that there are resources, more or less echoing what Marionette and Rebecca were saying. There are resources for parents, and it doesn't necessarily mean that your children will be taken away. In terms of when it comes for suicide prevention, this would be one of the first steps, if not this step, just being able to have some information, go and talk about it. There are a lot of things if you're ever looking for resources or if you want to give it to somebody, 211, you can go and get mental health service or ask them for different type of resources or things. Or if you're working EAP, Employment Assistance Program. Those are 2 hours therapy sessions that go for a little bit, so that way you can kind of get a feel for counseling and see how that is. And like I said, as Ms. Brown said, suicide is a solution for some people when they feel there are no other avenues for help. But what we're trying to do on this for this month in September is suicide prevention. There are always different avenues for help, and suicide does not have to be the number one answer that you go to because, as they say, what did Pastor Robert would say? We endure, but something in the morning. I don't know the scripture.
Yeah, yeah. So weeping may endure for a day, but joy cometh in the morning, right?
Yeah,
And,
I didn't want to mention the book, the good book.
and if you're just joining Jamaican Explosion this evening, I see a lot of folks on that are listening to this great information that we have here. It's actually September. It's a suicide prevention month, and we have a panelist here led by Mr. KB and Brown this evening, and Miss Rebecca is on with us. This evening too, Rebecca Brown, and of course Miss Marinette Humes, and hopefully I'm saying these last name correctly. And we also have Miss Christy Holmes. She's having a little problems with her camera right now, but she's gonna get it straightened out pretty soon. So it's good that they're here this evening, and I'm just want to remind you, I'll give him back to KB in here in a couple of minutes, right? Just in a minute or so, that we're listening to. This is actually Jamaican Explosion going out on YouTube, going out on Facebook, and I'm glad you're able to join us this evening. One question that I would like to ask the panel, though, while I'm here, is if someone is in the process, well, let me say, what are some of the signs that we could recognize a person that is actually going through, are are there signs that we could look out for, that telltale signs to speak, that we could see on a person if they're contemplating suicide, or they're suicidal, or that's just going coming from me. I ain't got no letters behind my name, so I'm leaving it to you guys for that. Okay.
I would say they're all different. I'm gonna ask like the panel to just name two or three, but they're all different based off of that. I'd say sometimes know your person and know if they're not acting like your person. But sometimes your person could act exactly the same and still have those thoughts, and you would never know. So my three things would be to notice if there's random tears. A lot of times when we're just crying uncontrollably and we can't control it, it's a lot of time that the depression or the sadness is beyond that person. Number two, if they are, and you might talk to your friends and be like, you're not the same, you've changed, a lot of that. A lot of times, those things to people who've changed and they already know their change sometimes push them a little bit further because I can't get right or I don't feel right. So sometimes if you're noticing that and say it to people, ask them what's going on other than stating the fifth. Obvious. You're not fun anymore. What's going on? Something's changed, yada, yada. The best question is, are you okay? And the last thing I would say is sometimes asking more than once. If you might ask and somebody might tell you, I'm okay, but if you have it in your gut and your gut feels just like something's not right, follow up. A lot of times, people who are suicidal don't want anybody to know, but they want people to know so that they can intervene and help them, regardless if they say something or not. So follow up, recognize signs, and I forgot the three I said, but yeah, those are them.
And agree.
Marinette.
I agree with Kate. Also, sometimes, like if you see the behavior, which was low all the time and maybe depressive, and then all of a sudden it just changed to this we're great and we're giving away valuable things, and we're things that mean something to that individual. That's a sign as well. We think of the it looking bleak all the time, but sometimes it's flipped, and it's like it's the opposite of what they normally feel, and you see, hey, they kind of happy. Is everything okay? Like, going back to that question, are you okay? What's
Mhm.
going on? Let's talk. So that's another sign that you can look at too, and you can look for. But like Kavian said, sometimes it's not so cookie cutter, or it's not so definitive that you can say, oh, okay, let's watch them. It's just, you just have to we just have to be so what's the word, we have to be so
In
I guess,
tune.
I'm sorry, what you say?
I was saying in tune, but sorry.
In tune, that's the word I was looking for. In tune, yes, and aware.
Okay. And then Rebecca and then Christy, you next were saying, what are the signs that, if you can name like at least three, that somebody can not noticeably, but maybe noticeably know that somebody might be going through some suicidal thoughts or feeling that way? Rebecca?
Yeah. Um, Listen, because you guys talked about some things that you can notice, right, with your eyes, but with your ears. Do you hear a person saying, man, I just can't deal with this stuff no more? Or, man, I just wish I just could go to sleep and not wake up, right, for a couple of days, or this is just too much for me to bear. Like what are some things that you may hear a person say? They're not saying I wish I was dead or I want to kill myself, right? But are they making certain statements that's expressing that they've reached their max in what they can tolerate,
Mm.
right? So listening out for that type of communication is can be very, very helpful, because when we're assessing that, that's one of the main things that we do even assess for. Literally on the gold standard assessment, the question that is asked is, within a past, month or so, have you had any thoughts of wishing that you would go to sleep and not wake up? Right. So those are what we call passive ideations. and they are just as powerful and can be just as frequent as the very active suicidal ideations.
So passive suicidal thoughts as well as active suicidal thoughts. And passive suicidal will not be the direct, I want to kill myself, this is how I'm going to do it, but more or less, life is too much, I don't want to live, and I wish I didn't have to be here anymore. Awesome. Christy, at least three tell times or three things that you would like to tell people. How can they notice, or how would one kind of notice if somebody is suicidal? What are three signs that you can kind of give off? You are muted. No, we can't hear you. Nope. I don't know what's going on with the thing, but no. Um, no. If you type them, I can say what they are. While we get ready for the next people. So if you type them, I'll go ahead and present your message. So again, I know, Brother Rob, we have somebody else coming on, but again, I just want to let everybody know in the audience that this is Suicide Prevention Month, and what we can do to try to prevent somebody from taking their life is sometimes all we can do to try to prevent somebody from taking their life. A lot of times when people say, "Hey, I'm going to do this," like I said, people don't want to just go ahead and end their life. They just want somebody to reach out to them and being able to talk to them and have that person to talk to. Most of the times when people do commit suicide, they are really non-vocal about it. It just happens, and then you just see it and just have to experience it. A lot of times people will not say, "Hey, I'm about to just go. I'm gonna go off myself in the next room. You want to come?" It doesn't usually happen like that. All right, so it's always going to be some type of outcry for help. Sometimes something that's different, or it could just start off with going through the therapy. Christie says that preparatory acts such as giving away valuables, spending extra time with loved ones, or getting a will. Oh, that's a good one. Getting a will or advanced directives together. That's one that we haven't mentioned. So if people are preparing unofficially to die or fixing their will ahead of time, that might be a good indication. Why are you going ahead and fixing your will, and why are you doing your advanced directives? Are you planning something? That's actually a really good one when people start planning for death before maybe their time. Nobody knows when their time is, but when you start planning for it. And spending extra time with loved ones, as Marinette and Rebecca both stated, when people start to do things that are a little bit different, if your loved one has usually been by themselves, stay away, kind of recluse, and now all of a sudden, hey, we want to get some extra time, I want to get some hugs, I want to get that time. It could be because they're preparing for that just last step and saying, hey, let me just get my time in, which is another indicator, again, that people are still looking for that connection to reach out to people, even though they might want to be by themselves. I thank you all for being able to be a part of this conversation because, as we know, suicides happen every single day, every hour, every minute, and every second. Somebody is losing a loved one due to something that they can't necessarily prevent. And when we have young ones, we always keep our young ones close, but when they go to school, a lot of times they're around their friends 8 hours of the day. A lot of the influences they're getting from TV, they're getting from their friends. So a lot of the times you can't necessarily prevent everything that they're learning or going through, or even life for them. I think a lot of times as adults, we have to remember what our childhood was. I remember a lot of times we said, man, I don't want to do this anymore. This is tough. I hate this. I don't like my parents today, all of that stuff. But we all made it through the point of life goes on. I'll get past this. Tomorrow is better. Joy will come in the morning. Usually, when people commit suicide, they do not see that hope, as Marinette said. They are hopeless and also feel like there is no hope for tomorrow. So, what can we do? Sometimes, a lot of times, we can restore hope through therapy. We can restore hope through counseling. We can restore hope through spirit and faith, and being able to go to church and talking to spiritual leaders, heads of the family, and things of that nature. Your parents and your friends do not always have to be the support, but people are supportive too. People find support in where they know support is. So if anything that we can gain from this time is that support is out there. If you know somebody who seems as if they're low on the energy side, they're feeling a little down, depressed, and they seem, and you have that just a gut feeling something's not right, sometimes you can even sign them up for counseling. Like, hey, I signed them up. Do you want to go talk to somebody tomorrow? You don't have to do anything else just besides let them know, hey, I'm here for you. Even if you're calling them every day, hey, I'm just calling to check on you. One day they might break and be like, this is what I'm going through. So just run the race, stay with them, and know at the end that person who's feeling suicidal will thank you for being their friend on the side who's running the race with them, either silently or vocally, and letting them know that they can make it to the finish line. I'm going to ask you all just to say your last handles, how people can contact you before we get to the next segment. Any Instagram, Facebook, or anything in case they are looking for any type of services, and if there's anything that you stated that caught their ear in terms of how they can outreach. So we'll go from top to bottom. Mrs. Brown?
Yeah, so before I give my contact information, I'll just love to share the National Suicide Prevention or Crisis number. It's 988. In Georgia, it's, GCAL, Georgia Crisis Access Line. They also have an app that you can download on your phone where if you don't have a therapist, even parents, if you want to make sure that this is something that your kids have on their phone, they have 24/7 access to a person like us, right? Where they could be in their room at night, they're having certain thoughts, they can text them, they can email them, or they can actually call them through that app, right? My contact information is 770-217-4336. Right, and you can reach out to us at any time. My direct cell number is 706-250-1769. And it was such a pleasure being here tonight.
And she is the owner of AOS Healing and Wellness Center and is also on Instagram. Ms. Humes?
Yeah, Humes and that at soscg.com. And you can email me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I usually respond within 24 to 48 hours. And then we can go from there.
And then her email cut out for a little bit, so her name is Marinette Humes. Email is mhumes@sosccg.com. And Christy is off. Christy is also a therapist, like stated. She's a master's level social worker and a certified medical cannabis consultant. And she can be reached. She can be reached at Trill Therapy ATL, which is on Instagram, Trill Therapy ATL, or she can be reached through C Holmes at sosccg.com. She provides life coaching, sound therapy, stretch therapy. She's a medical cannabis consultant and a mental health and wellness events. And she does mental health and wellness events with a focus on cultural inclusion. And that's Miss Christy Holmes. So again, our panelists is Mrs. Rebecca Brown, Miss Marinette Humes, Miss Christy Holmes, and again, I'm the host for oh my God, Strength to Breathe, KBN Brown, licensed clinical social worker, and I can be reached at kbrown@sosccg.com or through Instagram at sosccgllc, where we do counseling, have holistic treatment, have medication management, and also we'll be doing groups in October to make sure that parents and kids and individuals have a place where they can just have a safe space to talk with other people who might be going through the same things. And some of our groups will be held by Ms. Humes and Ms. Holmes. So again, prevent suicide as best as you can. And if this is the first step to it, thank you for doing your part. Pastor Rob, thank you for allowing us to be here.
Yes, Mr. Fabian. So don't go away. Don't go away yet because we got quite an audience watching this evening. And this is a very interesting topic. And I believe that you guys handle it. Young folks too. And I love young folks. I love when young folks get on and show us that they understand this thing. Sometimes we, the older folks, we don't quite understand what's going on. So all knowledgeable young folks, and I want to commend you all, Rebecca Morgan, KBN's Brown's wife, and the little baby there. Yeah, sometimes we got to do it with the baby in the lap and everything, you know. Okay, hey, what's the name? What's the name? What's the name of that? What's the name? KBN.
KBN.
KBN Junior. Okay, all right. Of course, Miss Marinette. Was great having you on this evening with us, Miss Christy. It's good to have you on. And what I'm gonna do though, the month, it's all month long. So I might bring each of you back individually. So I hear more about your practice. I hear a little bit about your specialties, your special area of of influence, your areas of expertise, and then we had a panel, so we spoke about it all together, but then we break it up so we could get a lot more knowledge from your individual practices. But Kabian, keep doing a good job. And, the Strength of Breed, the host took a little break on me, and I asked Mr. Kabian to step in, and he's been doing an excellent job. And they're watching. The folks that normally does the Strength of Breed, Mr. Peter Gracie, and we'll get you in touch with Kabian. You're doing a very excellent job. I like your expertise. I like your control and of the knowledge, and we surely enjoyed it this evening. Okay, so expect to have each and every. I want to say a big up to Miss Gracia Morgan. Miss Gracia Morgan, she has the questions this evening. Gracie is always on asking these questions, so we say, hey Gracia, thanks for jumping in the chat this evening. We certainly enjoyed you today. And ladies and gentlemen, in the Georgia area, we know we're having a very serious discussion going on based on what happened in Winder last week. Winder is a area that I go to a lot. I have church members that are fellow ministers that have churches in Winder. So to know that this just happened so close to us, these are the kind of conversations that we need to be having. These are the kind of preventative measures that we need to be putting out on the airwaves, on the internet, and so forth like that. So I thank you guys for coming in and sharing with me this evening, and I look forward to having each of you back. Okay. So thank you all for coming to Jamaican Explosion this evening. Okay. So all right, guys. So okay, Kabian, we'll see you next week.
Right.
We'll be
Yes.
right back here. Okay, Miss Rebecca, we'll see you. Okay, and of course, Miss Marinette, we'll see you as well. Okay. Okay, very good. So there we have it, folks. This is Pastor Rob on a Monday evening. How you doing? How are things going on with you this evening? Hopefully you had a great weekend and so forth like that. This is Pastor Rob, and this is Jamaican Explosion, and it's good to be here with you this evening. I've got my next little mini panel coming up right here in a second, and of course, it's Miss Debbie Jarrett will be back, and she's from the Jamaican Cultural Connection Incorporated. And we want to make that clear because I believe on the poster we said Jamaica, but we're going to make it very, very clear that it's a Jamaica Cultural Connection Incorporated. Crew will be right here with me in about 2 minutes. But right now I got to play a little song here, and I want to remind each and every one that coming up this Friday, not Friday, but we actually have it coming up this Sunday evening, is the International Evening of Praise. International Evening of Praise put on by Gwinnett International Church along with Patamar Music. And this will be taking place this coming Sunday evening from the hours of 4 until 7. So you want to make it a date, and you want to be there at the Caribbean Live TV Studios, 6254 Memorial Drive, Sweet C, Stone Mountain, Georgia. And you definitely want to come on and then check out good singers will be there. Amazing singers will be there this weekend. So just want to put that in here before I bring my next crew on. And let's hear a little bit of this lady that will be actually performing, and then we'll come back with our next crew as they wait patiently to come on here this evening. This is from Miss none other than Miss Universe.
Woo. Be still and know who can number the days of eternity. Who can understand the depths of the deep blue sea? Who knows which way the wind comes and goes? Who knows why on a cloudy day the sunlight shows? The words trust in one created them. Even when it seemed like a far-fetched Though the elements may be boisterous, it still takes wisdom to obey the command to be still. And know that He is God. Be still, know that He is God. Be still, know He's all you got.
Yes, indeed. Every now and then we just gotta be still and know that He is God. And let's go ahead and welcome to our Jamaican Explosion screen. Not a stranger to us, but she's returning this evening with the crew of JCC. And let's say a warm welcome to Miss Debbie Jolly. All right. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Pastor Rob. Thank you for having us. How are you doing?
We're doing well today. As you can see, we had a very lively conversation with the youths today.
Yes, a very, very, very good topic indeed. Suicide Prevention Month.
Yes. And we're just letting folks know that that's a reality. And every now and then we have to start speaking about it and let folks know how we could prevent this. So,
indeed.
Yeah.
Fabian gave some really great points and want to thank him for switching up with us too. Thanks, Fabian.
Yeah. So there you see, we have Mr. KB and he just stepped in and I said the strength to breathe. I explained it to him what it's all about, and he just falls right in line. So I expect to have him meet all the strength of the crew at some point or the other. So good. So how are you doing? How was the Central Florida crew doing?
We are doing great. I'm going to leave the stories to be told to you by your special guests on the panel. I won't spoil it by calling the names.
Okay, all right.
There, especially one in particular.
Yes.
Popular with you. But we have been asking for help from the community so that we can help others, and the turnout has been wonderful. People are just giving from their hearts, and we just want to say thank you. And thank you to platforms like yourself and other platforms, the news, CRR FM in Orlando, Louis Witter, everybody is just pitching in so we can be heard. My purpose as public relations manager is to get awareness towards the Jamaican Cultural Connection, Inc., and to get us known out there, because our purpose is simply to help others. So,
yes, indeed. So we could go ahead and bring on Miss Lerner.
Wozencroft Franklin, our president.
Okay, let's go ahead and have her here. Come on to the screens of Jamaican Explosion, and we'll have her here. Hey, how you doing, Miss Lerner Franklin?
Good evening. I'm very well, sir. Thank you for having us.
And it is my pleasure to have you here with us this evening. And I welcome you from the Jamaican Cultural Connection Incorporated, out of none other than Central Florida. And and I'm so glad that Debbie hooked up with me, because now I don't only have information coming out of Atlanta. I have that information coming out Central Florida. And it's good to have you here, Miss Lerner. And you are the current president. Are you?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay. And how long has it been since you have been in the organization? And okay, give us a little bit about yourself.
I joined this organization 10 years ago.
Okay.
Just from word of mouth, I met a fellow Jamaican in a restaurant. She happened to hear me talking to the owner and approached me, went to her car, got a brochure, and I never left. I went to the next meeting and liked what I saw. Our founder, Miss Claudette Bailey, was around at the time. She has since passed due to COVID. However, I got there, I saw what I liked, and and I joined and just haven't left. And I've served in every capacity that I can serve in. And this year, in April, uh, I was inaugurated as the current president.
And I want to say congratulations to you and all the good work that you are doing in Central Florida. Okay. And we also have one more person joining
Thank you.
the panel this evening. And I wish he'd go ahead and turn his cameras on because I haven't seen him in a while. So I want to see what he looks like right now. I see that the microphone's on, but Mr. Vittel, you might want to turn your cameras on so we could see you. I actually have the crew from Westchester County, Austin, New York,
Wow.
and they're going to be listening in as we speak to Mr. Vittel this evening.
Okay. And Pastor Rob?
Yes.
In the meantime, just want to say hi. Our vice president is on.
Okay.
Mr. Lewin, and want to say a special hello to Mr. Peter Gracie.
Yeah.
Them on. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, all those lovely people in the chat this evening, and it's good to see you all in the chat. Going up to Miss Lewin, I've had her on this program before, and it's good to see her here. Mr. Gracie, how you doing? Good to have you on this evening. Okay, all right, and I'm going to go ahead and bring on Mr. Vittel Smart to our Jamaican Explosion Scream today. Mr. Vittel, how are you, sir?
Hello there, hello there, hello there.
Okay, sir. Welcome to Jamaican Explosion, and it's our pleasure to have you here with us. And I understand, Mr. Vittel, that you are the past president. Okay, you have been the past president of this JCC. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Mr. Vittel, I haven't seen you in a long while. Okay.
Oh man. When I heard when Sister Debbie told me that she linked up with you, I said, "What?" When she said Pastor Rob, I said, "Pastor who?"
Yeah, right.
I didn't know you as Pastor Rob in those days. So it's that transformation that took place. Congratulations on that one.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. You knew me as a little youth running around the streets of Austin, Austin, New York.
You have age at all. That one gray hair, just like me.
So Debbie, before we get to the conversation, Debbie told me that there's this gentleman by the name of Vittel Smart that down in Orlando. And this is what gave it away. She says, he was a good dancer. And if she had said that, he's a good cricketer and a good footballer, then I knew it was you. Michael Byfield says hello. And
lovely.
Michael Byfield. He says hello, and the gentlemen are there listening in. Richard Shaw, your fellow cricketers from the cricket team, and we're gonna get to you in a second, Miss Lerner and Miss Vittel started the soccer club and the cricket club in Austin, New York, when we were youths. And Mikey Byfield said to just remind the folks of this. When Vittel started those organizations, he said he started it with such a smooth process, and he managed it in such a way that even to this day, these gentlemen are professionals. Richard's a professional engineer. Mikey's professional doing his business in radio and so forth like that. And they all look to Mr. Vittel as the leader of our community at that time. We looked up to Mr. Vittel as the leader. A little bit older than we were, but was a part of the cricket team and so forth like that. So it's good to have you here with us this evening.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
So tell us, panel, about JCC. Let's get a little bit of information on that.
Madam President?
Madam President, Miss Lerner? Lerner? Mm-hmm.
Can you hear us, Lerner? She's frozen.
Looks like she's frozen.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Debbie, you could take over. I'll try to get her back on here.
Okay, well, JCC, as I said, our main goal is to uphold the vision of our founder, Claudette Bailey, who founded this in October 2010. And our mission statement is we strive to empower our citizens to come together in cultural unity and connectivity, educate, train, build, and enhance the quality of life for the less fortunate, our local and Jamaican communities. Our vision is encourage our citizens to come together in cultural unity. And I don't want to take away from what Brother Vittel is going to tell you about, but our main focus this evening is how we at the Jamaican Cultural Connection, Inc. handled helping out for Hurricane Beryl victims, especially the disabled.
Okay.
Brother Vittel led that task force, if you will, and it was just amazing. It was expedited. And it's the process and the completion. Miss Lerner is back?
Yes,
Yes. Miss Lerner, would you say a little bit about JCC? I read our mission statement and our vision statement. Oh, your mic. Okay, there you go. Try.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Fantastic. I'm so sorry. I have no idea what happened. But I could hear you, Debbie, and you did very well. Yeah, that is our history.
Yes.
So you did very well. I'm not sure where to go from there. I can add that when I joined 14 years ago, the president of the organization was none other but Mr. Vittel Smart.
Okay. All right.
And he pushed me he challenged me because I was more comfortable like sitting and not saying anything, hardly. And he pushed me even into an area that I knew nothing of, and then didn't allow me to refuse. I didn't want to, but after all he exhausted me because I ran out of excuses. Let me put it that way. So after all that, here I am. And I'm very grateful to him for it. I don't know if I've ever said it to him, but here is my opportunity. So thank you, Mr. Vittel. And we have a phrase back home that I'm going to say it in Patois. What God meant for you cannot be unfor you. So apparently the good Lord saw this day coming. I didn't. But I accept this with humility, this role with humility. And I have a group of supportive people that surrounds me. I have a good executive board and other members of the organization that are very supportive because they too love this organization and want to see it grow. And I still reach out to Mr. Vittel if I have if I'm thinking of something that we could do, I bounce it off of him. So he is still, I should say he's my mentor though I never asked him to be, and he never accepted because he doesn't know what I look to him in that capacity, and he doesn't say no. Okay. Currently, well, recently, we had burial that rolled through Jamaica, and things were moving so fast. I just became president in April. I'm a little outdone by this. Oh my goodness, we have to do something. And like I say, I have an excellent group of people around me that wants to see Jamaican Cultural Connection Inc., JCC Inc., grow and flourish in a positive way. And so, we came up with the idea we need to have a disaster relief fund going.
Yes.
So I turned to Mr. Vittel. After talking with my board, I turned to Mr. Vittel and I asked him, I said, it's come up that we need to do this. And I'm going to ask you to chair that.
Okay.
And oh my, did he ever.
Did he ever? Yeah.
Yes. and currently still working. We got off of a meeting with that team tonight in order to join you on your team on the Jamaican explosion. So here we are and still working. And I will leave some for others to say.
Okay, very good, very good. So as we start speaking about the burial recovery process, one of the questions that I would like to put forward as we begin is, Mr. Vittel, and you can help us with it. How did you gather the donations? What were some of the ways that you gathered the donations, and what were some of the essential items that were shipped, and how were they shipped? Okay, Mr. Vittel, you could help me out with that this evening.
Wow. Thank you very much, Pastor Rob. Thank you very much, Sister Lauren.
Welcome.
David Charlie, good to see you again. Pastor Rob, our organization has come a far way. I was the second president. And just before I became president, the founder, when I first went to JCC there, I was always a part of organizations, from Arsenal, the days in Arsenal. And so that was nothing new for me to just jump in and start to assist. I became the second president, and now our organization has both the president and the vice president are two ladies. History of the organization. And when Lerna told me that she was running for president, I said, whoa. And then now I told her, whatever help you need, I'll be here for you. Okay. And so here we are, got hit with a hurricane right after she became president. And I said, whoa. So when she called on me, it was a no-brainer for me to just jump. There were some funds in the organization, so we were able to pull from that. And you asked about how do we ship? We didn't ship anything.
Okay, all right.
We didn't ship anything. We learned from our days in Austin not to ship anything to Jamaica, because sometimes you end up on the streets and people selling it. It end up the barrels take a long time to clear out the wharf and all that type of stuff.
Very good.
So luckily, over the years, I have a schoolmate who has a big distribution company in Jamaica, and he says, "Look, there's no shortage of food here." So we decided to buy the food directly from them there, and keep the money circulating in the local economy in Jamaica.
Wow.
And so we're able to not only buy the food, but to have them package it for us and get it ready for distribution. And we also we have boots on the ground there. It's a Kiwanis Club Foundation in Jamaica. We have worked with them before. And so we just call upon them, and they were ready for us to jump in and support. So we were able to get things organized quickly, seamlessly. And by the time you realize, the Kiwanis Club, they're distributing food to all the folks that needed it, especially in the parish of St. Elizabeth. And we were able to get real, real fantastic prices and whatever we packaged. We were able to feed 110 families right away with anything from uh, water, food, also mosquito vapor for mosquito repellent and all that type of stuff. And so these things were the Kiwanis International also got the JDF to help them transport the food down to the areas in St. Elizabeth. 4 different clubs joining together now and start to distribute the food, and we have our own marketing taking place, the pictures and banners, JCC. Even if our own banner was made in Jamaica.
Oh, wow.
JCC banner was made right there in Jamaica.
Yes.
So we didn't have to ship nothing out there. We just spend the money right there, and we were very, very happy with the prices that we were able to get.
Yes.
And it was a nice package. And now we are in the process of replenishing the money that we spend and by putting on a fish fry event coming up this coming Saturday here in Orlando. And it's going to be a big event. A lot of restaurants and stepped up and donate food and different items. We just coming off a meeting just now. The organization, the committee that I chair is called the Healthcare Committee.
Okay, all right, I'm listening.
Yes. And so the Healthcare Committee is in charge of this, and we have some real dedicated members. David Jarrett is one of them. Lerna is one, and Lerna is a member of all the committees. As the president, you're de facto members of all the committees. So we are able to come together now after that distribution in Jamaica. We just jumped off right because both of them were being planned simultaneously. And so we jumped off the distribution, or we on to something else. And this fish fry is coming up. Those who live in Orlando, it's in Barnett Park, which is at off West Colonial Drive, 4801 West Colonial Drive in Orlando. And we just want to say thank you to all the restaurants. We approach all the local restaurants, and they are able to give us items just free of cost. So we raise funds from jerk chicken, bakeries donating bread, rice and peas, that type of stuff.
Yeah, there are pictures.
And yes, some of the pictures that coming from the Kiwanis in Jamaica.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So we
a lot of pictures, and if those situations down there was horrendous. And so we also were able to, as you can see from this picture, we're able to reach out to the handicapped people people with disability, who are not getting the assistance that they're so desperately needed. And Kiwanis was able to ferret out these people and give them some help also. Yeah.
Okay. It's always good to see pictures of the effort that we put forward and see how people are actually reacting to the aid that we send through the diaspora. Itela, I commend you on that because while we here in different places we're looking at ways to send stuff down, maybe if we had a buddy partner down in Jamaica when these events happen, then we could do similarly the thing that you have done. then we could send the money down because we were, a lot of folks were jumping around here. Well, are we going to get it to the shipping agent here? Then we're going to think about getting it down to Jamaica. Then we have to clear it off the wharf down there and so forth like that. So that's actually an excellent idea. Getting a buddy partner down there that when hurricanes and natural disasters, we're not wishing that on Jamaica at all. But when it happens, then we have folks down there that could go ahead and send the money to. They could purchase the supplies that are needed and disperse them. I thank you said Kiwanis for helping out and just having people down there in place for these things. What do you think?
Sure, it's always good, to not only to build a relationship but to maintain relationship.
Yes.
Sometimes you reach into your cell phone or your Rolodex, old-time Rolodex, and you find friends. This particular company, I'm not sure if you are familiar with CariMed International, CariMed group of companies in Jamaica, CariMed. But they own the Kendall brand of products, which is a big food distribution company in Jamaica. That was my schoolmate who owned that company.
All right.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, both the wife and husband, we went to school together.
Okay.
And so when I reached out, that was a no-brainer right away for them, and because they had just themselves donated a lot of food products to Food for the Poor. So they knew exactly what type of products the people needed. And so that problem was solved right away. And so it was just a matter of we selecting, a good package, what we need in each, and we give every bag, we call it, I forget the name they call the bag, but they have a special name for it. We give every bag has the same items in it, same items, right? Care bag. Every care bag has the same item in there. So and on top of that, they throw a couple of corned beef here and there in there to make it up. But we were able to get about a whole lot of different items in that one bag, and it was heavy. On top of that, we got water to go with it. And the Jamaica Defense Force now they were able to work with the Kiwanis to transport these things to St. Elizabeth right away. So it's always not only good to know people, but to have good partnerships, partners to work with, boots on the ground down there who know the ins and outs of Jamaica. And the Kiwanis has so happened also that my cousin is the governor-elect for the Kiwanis Club International for Canada and the Caribbean. So when I called on her, she was right here in this country, and I went back to Jamaica and hit the ground running. I was able to organize these guys, and we got together with the Kiwanis organization, and the way the speed at which we were able to move was unheard. Nothing, what I mean, because we didn't have anything tie up on the wharf, and
that's it.
Worrying about people stealing it and all that type of stuff. Everything was moved. We just wire transfer the money into their bank account down there, and we were off and running.
No, that's
anybody.
Go ahead.
Me,
we can help them.
I just wanted to intercede, excuse me, that the thing that warmed my heart the most is seeing the recipients receive the things, but also how Brother Vittel chose to do this, stimulated the Jamaican economy.
Yes, absolutely.
And that is like a 2-for-1 gift.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I want to commend Vittel on that because I know here in Atlanta, we had several different Jamaican organizations, Caribbean organizations that were thinking about, are we going to ship it? and then when we ship it out, we're gonna get it off the wharf. That was the major thing. And getting into the areas at that time, we didn't know what the damages were into the inner areas. But I believe this is just genius right here. That we, get folks down there, reliable folks, as Phil says, and that begins before the process happens. That means we have to formulate those relationships and keep those channels open. So when the events happen, then we know exactly who we can trust with sending the money to, and who's able to gather the goods that are needed at the time. Mr. Vittel, we have Michael's in the chat here this evening, and he's saying, great job, Reverend Rob. Just want all of you to know I've been listening and quite excited to see Vittel and the women spearheading these efforts.
Michael Byfield, right?
And that's Michael Byfield, yes.
Wow, that was my cricket partner there. Good batsman.
So and I know that I say this from Michael. He says Vittel just as a good he's a good manager, an excellent manager that and to put the process into okay, Winston is also on. Winston Byfield's also on.
Wow.
We got all the Austin
reunion.
Whoa.
We got all the Austin crew. Ladies, don't feel these are we were all in our teens at the time, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Vittel was the gentleman in the area that kept us out of trouble.
Nice.
He was that took Michael and Winston under his belt, and as according to Michael, when I spoke with him yesterday, he said Vittel was the first person that taught him how to organize.
Wow.
That's what we're speaking about here. Organize. You can see the organizational skills that Vittel that has. And to know that he took it from Osning, brought it all the way down there to Orlando, and I'm so proud of you guys for doing such an excellent job. Smooth job.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you very much, Pastor Rob. It was a pleasure seeing you again, and I'd like to get some connecting phone numbers for my friends so I can link up with them.
We'll definitely do that for you, Vittel. We'll definitely
I'll get those for you through Pastor Rob.
Okay.
Yes.
And I just want to say, it's how much I enjoy doing what I do.
Yes.
I think you have to have a passion for it.
Yes.
And when we talk about working with people,
yes,
it's you got to find honest partners, and the key word is honest. And so it's not I would advise people to just jump and just send money to anybody in Jamaica without clearing the honesty bar first. I mean, and that's the first one. So you know who you're dealing with, and so once you know who you're dealing with, between Caramed and Kiwanis International, we have everything in place already, and we were able to deal with this, I think, much quicker than most other people and most other organizations. Some still have their perks tied up on the wharf trying to clear.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And let me ask this, Miss Lerner. I'll be right back with you in a second to ask you a few more questions about JCC. So,
all right.
So what's the follow-up process? You went to St. Elizabeth that those goods were dropped off. So have you followed up on the process to see how things are progressing there?
Is that for me?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we did a follow-up we have a local radio station here in town that we're able to connect with members with members from the Kiwanis who did the distribution for us,
Mm-hmm.
and we had about a 20-minute connection, and it tell us exactly how it worked and how grateful and gratitude how people expressing their gratitude for what they got, and and the Kiwanis, the governor elect will be coming into our function in October as
Oh,
a follow up. So she's going to be our guest speaker.
wow, that's great.
Yeah. So she's a Jamaican who is a governor elect for the Kiwanis Club International
Mm-hmm.
for Canada and the Eastern Caribbean. So it's a big deal.
Oh yeah, that's huge. That's huge right there.
Yeah.
That's huge. Because a lot of times you have folks that send things down and they
Yeah.
get to the destination, but they do no follow up.
Right.
To make sure that things are actually progressing.
Yeah.
Uh, Debbie, the
Yes.
thing there before I go to Miss Lerner here.
Hmm. Yes. I actually was going to direct this to Miss Lerna.
We're all family here on Jamaican Explosion. We're all family.
Yes, man. We're good. We're good.
You don't have to tense on Jamaican Explosion. This is
First of all, thank you for having us, Pastor Rob. It's always a pleasure to be here. Uh, Miss Lerna and I have a radio show every Friday called Wisdom Fridays, and I'm going to leave it at that. So she can tell you about how God works and how this tied into Hurricane Beryl relief. Miss Lerna, you know who I'm talking about, right? Who called in?
Yes, I do. And
Okay, all
thank
yours.
thank you, Madam PR. You're awesome. I'm so happy that I am surrounded. It is a blessing that I'm
Mhm,
surrounded by folks like Vital Smart
mhm,
and Debbie Jarrett and Karen Lewin and so many more, my board and others.
mhm,
And I call them my board. You know, it is meant in a very good way because I feel close to everyone.
mhm,
So anyway, on this radio show is CRRFM and with Mr. Louis Witter.
mhm,
And we speak with a gentleman from Jamaica every Friday that we meet on this platform, Mr. Harris, Mr. Melville Harris. And he is a journalist with RJR, and
mhm,
he's also chair of the constabularies
mhm,
he's president of the constabulary board in Jamaica. So we were elated a
mhm,
few weeks ago when Mr. Harris
mhm,
said he saw
mhm,
our donations. He saw it and they distributed it in three different parishes
okay.
in Hanover, in Westmoreland, and in St. Elizabeth, because some parts of those parishes were, they received some kind of damage there, though not as bad like St. Elizabeth. But he saw that because they go into the rural parts
Mhm,
Mhm.
and we are reaching those people. I feel so proud to be part of this organization.
mhm,
We're not very large,
mhm.
but one of our members always say this as well. We little, but we tolerable. Yes, we are doing quite a bit in Jamaica.
There's a
And I
question.
must use this platform also to say thank you to those people who help us to get through this and those people that are still donating goods.
Mhm,
We have someone that has connections there
mhm,
um, in Jamaica, and we'll see about distributing them where they're needed. Even today, I dropped off items that were left at the CRR radio station for JCC. And I took them to Miss Veronica Dixon, who is the chair of our missions committee, so that she can send them off to Jamaica. But I'm extremely proud and of what we do, and I am very, very grateful to Mr. Vittel for the suggestion that he had and for executing it in such a short time. That was like a miracle to have gotten that much done in such a short time and reach the people now that needs it now. If you're hungry now, you can't wait until December.
That's correct.
Okay. So, and that's one of that's our very basic need. It has to be met. And JCC met 110 families.
Wow.
Basic needs. I say hats off to us. I am just proud. I was already proud to be a Jamaican, but I'm extremely proud to be a member of this organization and now the president of this organization. And I thank you, Pastor Rob, for giving us this opportunity.
Here's a question, Miss Lerner. We spoke about our aid to Jamaica, and there's a question from Mr. Winston Byfield, and he says, "Do you provide support for West Indians in Central Florida?" And tell us what that looks like.
Yes, and I'm glad that he asked that. We do, and according to our mission statement, Miss Claudette and her group, saw that need, and that's how she started this organization here in Central Florida. So we reach out to. We have not done that recently, but in the past, we reached out to the homeless people. We provide food and toiletries for them. There is a school that we adopt.
That's great.
And thank you.
And the highway.
Lee Middle School is now. The name has changed. It was Lee Middle School. And we provide them with backpacks and toiletries. The reason for the backpacks is not to carry their books, believe it or not. These kids are homeless. And the person that's over this program is able to get food items donated.
As I may add, Madam President.
Yes, you could go ahead.
That question is connected to our mission statement.
Yes.
And a mission statement says, and I read, "We strive to empower our citizens to come together in cultural unity and connectivity, to educate, train, build, and enhance the quality of life for the less fortunate in our local and Jamaican communities."
Yes. And the school's name is College Park Middle School.
Okay. So we do take care of the local also.
Yes. That was Miss Claudette's vision here and in Jamaica. I think Madam President is frozen again.
Yeah, so we'll have her come get her back in a second. Coming or she seems to get a little frozenness going there on there. We'll straighten out. She's good now. She's back. So yeah, we have her back now. Okay. So yeah, so we want to say a very special shout out going out to Miss Karen Allen Lewin, and she's in the chat today.
She's our vice president.
Okay, your vice president.
Yes, Miss Karen Lewin, vice president. Special hi to Miss Joan Edgehill, president of the Jamaican American Association. We collaborate a lot. We get along. We're We're sister organizations. So we want to give a big shout out to them.
Okay.
Mia Allman and Joan
Mm-hmm.
Edgehill. Yes.
Okay, so you got quite an operation going on there in Central Florida.
You have no idea, Pastor Ron. Back to JAA, Jamaican American Association for Independence.
Yes.
There was history made. God bless them. They had 3 JCC members participate in their program.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Gershom Nelson was the keynote speaker.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Charlie Brown had us jump in, and yours truly was a co-emceeing with the Dr. Leafat. So another thing is to spread unity amongst us. It was really great to see all those organizations under one roof. And there's no reason why we can get along. As I always tell you, the Caribbean is a trunk of the tree, and we're all the branches. So that's my analogy.
Okay. So Miss Lerner, I think she's frozen a little bit, so we're going to wait until she straighten that camera out and come back on here to finish up. But it's definitely it's good to hear when you're in different parts of the country. I know Michael and Winston, they're in different parts of the country, and to know how the different areas handle like a barrel, and how we get, we have to share our information amongst each other, so each one teach one and so forth. And I kudos out to Mr. Vittel again, and the JCC. And what's in store for you? How was your Independence Ball and so forth like that? Did you have an Independence Ball? How was that? How was your Independence season?
Glad you asked that. Well, as I said, we celebrated alongside the Jamaican American Association. Miss Joan Edgehill, I see, is on.
Yes, I saw.
I said we came together as one. So now JCC we celebrate in October. We celebrate our Jamaican national heroes. And we're having our big event on Saturday, October 19th from 6 to midnight. Pastor Rob, can I send you flyers to advertise for us?
Of course. I thought you said you were going to send me some tickets.
Okay. Probably coming down, right? Just don't come down. Anyway, it's from 6 p.m. to midnight, and it's at a place called Grace Hall, 251 East Lake Brantley Drive in Longwood, Florida. We're having a steel pan drummer, Mr. Anthony Lewis, and we're having Vittel's cousin, Mrs. Pam Rodney White, governor of the Eastern Canada and Caribbean District of Kiwanis International. Yours truly is MC, and DJ Charlie Brown. I know I'm MC all over the place. But tickets are only $80. I encourage everyone to go to our website, www.jccnow.org, to make donations. We'd appreciate it. We thank you in advance to help us help others, because that's what it's all about. And as I want to point something out with a hurricane, when it happens, everybody pays it attention. They just got back light in St. Elizabeth, what Miss Lerner, a couple of weeks or a week ago.
A week ago, Brother Melville Harris told us that, because he reports from there. And it keeps going. It takes time to rebuild. So Brother Vittel is, once again, we're hosting a fundraiser fish fry this Saturday coming up, Saturday the 14th from 12 to 6 at Net Park here in Orlando. We're asking for donations for fish dinner, $25, $15 donation for jerk chicken dinner. There'll be music, places for the children, a family fun day. But I'll send you more information. And we have also a pre-Heroes event. That's on Saturday, October 5th, from 5 to 7. And it's at a Spirit of Joy Church. I'll send you that information. And we're working on a skit
So we're putting in that cultural flair that our founder dreamt about, Miss Claudette Bailey. Cultural connection, get it? Yes. So we look forward to these upcoming events.
Yeah.
And the fish fry, all proceeds are going right back to the Hurricane Disaster Fund. As I said, it takes time to rebuild.
And you know what I just saw there, Miss Jarrett? I saw that I have to bring you back like every other week, and you have to give me an update on
I
what happened in Central Florida.
I'd be happy to.
You come on every other week and just give us some ideas or just some information on what's happened in Central Florida, and you tell your folks to tune in to Jamaican Explosion, and they could hear you every 2 weeks. I got also you'll be my Central Florida connection. Okay.
No problem. I'm already. Listen, we don't need to tell her how connected we are, do we?
That's right. Okay. I keep forgetting that you're my family,
Yes, we're family.
Yes, indeed. From out of Montego Bay.
Straight out of Montego Bay.
Yes, definitely.
To New York.
Mm-hmm.
And Orlando.
Okay, so we have back here. We're going to wrap up here in a couple of minutes, and I want to thank each and every one of you to come on today. We have Miss Lunar Franklin, President, back with us, and you have a few last words for the Jamaican Explosion crew before you receive Miss Lunar.
Lorna.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. And I am also asking for donations.
Okay.
Like Debbie had mentioned before, if you go to
She's from I'll continue.
www.ccnow.org, and you will.
I get it for you.
Okay, www.jccnow.org. Again, www.jccnow.org, and everything you need to know is on there. How to donate and what have you. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll have our last words here from Mr. Vittel, wrapping up today as we get ready to wrap up today. It was great seeing you again, Mr. Vittel.
Yes,
and
sir.
Michael said he'll get in touch with you after the show. Okay.
Is Winston lives in Florida?
Excuse me, sir?
Winston, does he live in Florida?
Yeah, I think Winston lives in Florida.
You need to come and check out the fish fry on the weekend. You know who he's coming to? Teddy Henry.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You remember him?
Oh, yes, man, I remember Teddy.
Yes, Teddy. Well, he lives in Tampa. He's coming up.
All right. And my sister Jackie. So Winston said yes, he's still in Florida. And my sister Jackie, she's here in Georgia with me. And she said she actually traveled down to Orlando once and came to one of your events that you were having some singer, some performance happening down there. Okay.
What year was that?
Okay, I think it was about a year ago she told me that, but Winston says I will be there.
Winston is coming.
Okay, good.
So I want
in my final words, I'd like to first of all, Pastor Rob said, it was a pleasure linking up with you again.
Yes.
And I hope we know more of these strangers. My friends are always my friends.
Yes.
My schoolmate in college way back.
Yes.
He's still my friend.
Yes.
The guy who picked me up when I first came to this country at the airport.
Yes.
He's still my friend up to this day.
Yes, sir.
I don't. So I don't give up good friends,
Yes,
and
sir.
I don't have a lot of them either. So you know,
Yeah.
I so what I want to leave a couple words with you when it comes to the ABC of and ABC of Jamaican cultural connection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
The A is for attitude.
Mm.
It's a foundation that mark of you that keep you positive.
Mm-hmm.
And the B is for your belief in your unique and talented self.
Mm-hmm.
And if you always believe in your unique and talented self, then you will be a winner. And the C is for your courage.
Yes, sir.
Try and keep trying until you achieve your goals.
Yes, sir.
And for me, add a D is discipline. It pays off in results, and you must have it. So that's what we go by here at JCC. And we are a young organization, but we strive to be the best, and we're not afraid of making mistakes because
Mm-hmm.
that's how you learn.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Right? Uh, I have a leadership thing that I do from time to time called the fear of failure. And
Mm-hmm.
I dig into that, and you'll find all the all the most successful people in the world who have gone through failure. And but you know what they did? They failed forward. They failed
Mm.
forward. And so that's another topic for itself. But we're not afraid of, of going into areas that has never been done before and try it,
Mm-hmm.
and because that's how we learn. And so, I want to say hats off to our president, Lerner and Sister Debbie, and Vice President Karen, two ladies, three ladies who are leadership in our organization and make it strive right now. And I'm very, very proud to have them there, and I will
Thank
do
you.
whatever I can to uh, to work with them and make their tenure a success. Yeah. And
Thank
so
you.
I'd like to, just say hats off to the board of directors of JCC also, who were able to step up and voted for the funds that we needed so desperately for the Jamaica Relief Fund. I'd
Mhm.
like to say thank you to um, CariMed for being able to work with us in time of need and give us good deals and are able to pass on to needy people in Jamaica. I'd like to say thank you also to the Kiwanis Foundation, for being our partners that we work with from time to time, our trustworthy partner. I want to say thank you to them. And thank you for having us, Dr. Rob, Pastor Rob. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Vitel, and we'll be speaking with you. Debbie, you'd like to say some final words here?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Madam President, it's great to have you as a president to look up to, and Miss Karen as vice president, Brother Vittel. They're all my mentors, Pastor Rob. And I want to send out a special shout out to the JCC Healthcare
Okay.
Committee, who, we are such a team, a family that's putting on this fish fry fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
When we meet, it's so impressive to me. No one is fussing and fighting. Everybody is pitching in wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's all about. So I just want to leave you with these words to give love and compassion and respect the attention they so well deserve over the alternative. That's it.
Wow. Those are powerful words.
Thank
And
you.
I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out to come and be on Jamaican Explosion this evening. And looking forward to hearing more about all your escapades. Escapades. And actually taking a trip down there into Orlando to meet all of y'all, that area. I'm the secretary of the Atlanta Jamaica Association here. So we definitely would like to partner with you in Central Florida and do several southern things from the southern diaspora things. Okay, big shouts out going out to Mr. Peter Gracie this evening, and of course, that's a good friend of mine is right there, and all the people working in the Florida area, and look forward to more of these. Okay. Okay. All you got to do is call Pastor Rob up and say, Pastor Rob, we got something interesting happening down here, and I'll definitely get you on, and we will share the wealth, so to speak. Okay.
Amen. Amen. God bless you. And thank you for everyone who tuned in.
Okay, so until next time that you come back, I want to say, Vitel, thank you very much, and I will be in touch with you. Okay. Want to say thank you very much, Mr. Lerner, and it was a pleasure having you this evening. Keep on doing the good work. Keep on leading those folks in the right direction. Okay, and we'll be speaking with you soon. Okay, and of course, my family here, Miss Debbie Jolly Jarrett. I want to say thank you, Debbie, for once again linking up with us here at Jamaican Explosion. Good luck on your radio shows. We'll be tuning in to listen.
Thank you. I'm going to send you all that information, Pastor Rob. Thank you so much. And big love to Mr. Lewis Witter.
Okay. So until next time, we'll be in touch. Okay. And
okay.
you all have a blessed evening now. Okay. Very good. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, folks, this is Pastor Rob here, and this has been Jamaican Explosion this evening. And I would like to just say thank you all for tuning in this evening. Miss Joan Hedgehill, thank you this evening. Winston and all the Byfield, Michael Byfield, and all the crew, get in touch with me here, and I'll share the information for Vitel with you. And do remember, folks, if you're listening, this evening taking place at right here in the Atlanta area is an International Evening of Praise. International Evening of Praise put on by yours truly, Pastor Rob, where we'll be having an evening where we get together and just praise God through music. And I want to see everyone come on down, make it a date. And they say, don't be late. International Evening of Praise and Worship that will be taking place, courtesy of the Gwinnett International Church and Patamar Music. Place to be will definitely be Caribbean Live TV Studios, 6254 Memorial Drive, Sweet Sea, Stone Mountain, Georgia. You want to come on down, check us out on this Sunday evening. Okay, until next week, this is Pastor Rob saying it was good to have been here today, and we'll be with you again next week. God bless you. God keep you. It's Pastor Rob saying over and out on Monday evening. See you.